What's up, Cali Media? Welcome back to the channel. You guys know we got another reaction clip at the 3-minute mark, so if you don't want to hear me talk, go ahead and fast forward to the 3-minute mark. But let me give you a little rundown of the clip, right? So today's clip that we have for you is Boy, right? Rapper Boy, who's been in the game for a very long time. And we got this out of state, the world as you know it, out of stater who, tends to talk a lot about, Southern California. And, sometimes he takes shots at the homies and calls people certain names and, stuff of that nature, right? But in this next clip, you're gonna trip out when this YouTuber, TikToker, Instagrammer, blogger, influencer, whatever he says he is, right? Because we all know that he's just a regular guy. He's never been to California, homies. He says he's been to California, he has family here, but he said last time that he's never been to Cali, never touched down in Cali, but he has family in Cali. Okay, that's fine and dandy. You can make content on California. It's a free world. I'm not saying nothing like that. But what I'm trying to say is that when you start speaking on individuals that you have no clue about, and you start calling them certain names, disrespecting, there's really no reason for that, right? So he goes in on Boy and pretty much disrespects the hell out of him. And pretty much he says you're nobody when it comes to this social media. It's like, and then you got other bloggers, I won't say their channel, but I know who they are, and they are pushing this guy's content, saying that Boy is a failed rapper or whatever, right? But like I said, guys, I just think it's very, very odd this somebody of this nature, the world as you know it. One day he's all for the South, the next day he's against he's from the North, then the next day he's against the South homies, and then the next day he's all over the place, right? He's just chasing clout at its finest. But I will tell you guys something, Boy is a good, solid homie, that's for sure, right? And I'm gonna give you guys my interaction with Boy after the clip, after he says what he says. And I'm gonna break it down. And half of these bloggers that blog about him and talk negative about him never even met him, probably never even seen Boy, right? But me, Cali Media, I've met that homie before, and I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit more after the reaction. But that's why I wanted to react to this clip of this individual and what he has to say, because at the end of the day, man, we're gonna point out a whole lot of facts after the clip, right? So go ahead and hit me with a like. Make sure you turn on the all notification bell, take it off of personal, make sure it's on all. Shouts out to all the members on the channel, I highly appreciate you guys. Consider subscribing to the channel. We gotta bring you all the news, all the updates that I can. Try to bring you something different, not like these other creators who all follow suit and have the same content. So with that being established, this individual is from Flint, Michigan, but he doesn't live in Flint, Michigan. I believe it is somewhere in Ohio, right? So at the end of the day, Flint, Michigan is across the United States from the West Coast. So, it's easy to talk on the net, right? Let's get into the clip. Wow.
Lane, dog, straight up. Okay, you're at the bottom of the f***ing totem pole when it comes to this social media shit, okay? You're f***ing leva, okay? You're at the bottom of the you're everybody's son, all right? You're all of our son, all right? More f***ing followers than your f***ing bitch, boy. Then you want to speak on Lucky. Lucky will smack the piss out you, boy. You won't go on Hoodstocks because you ain't f***ing certified, dog. You go on Hoodstocks, you're gonna get the shit smacked out of you as soon as you open your mouth. That's why you won't go on Hoodstocks, because there's actual real ones that are at f***ing Hoodstocks, okay? And you're gonna get the piss smacked out of you, okay? You're f***ing lame. You're leva, just trying to get clout. You have all the shit that you talk about, you have no true backing, no true. You commented on my f***ing post, running your mouth. You did like 57 comments, bro, on a post, on a prison post, bro. And I want to clear the little prison post up, bro. Okay, yes, they did some shit in California where you can't be in the shoe. You can't be f***ing 23-1 for a certain amount of time. I don't know all the laws, but usually the big homies, they did a lot of time in shoe programs. They did a lot of time in the back, okay? That is a fact. If you lay out every big homie in every state in America, a lot of them have done a lot of time in solitary confinement. That is a fact. How can you argue that? That is a fact. Most of the big homies did a lot of time in solitary confinement. That is a fact. How can you argue that?
How, like, homie. So we're back at it, right? So as you heard this individual, he is totally lost, right? Everything that he's talking about makes no sense, it holds no weight, and it's all false, right? Now I'm gonna tell you something. One thing Alboy did say that he won't go on hood stocks, and he said respectfully. He didn't go any further. He did what a homie should do. He said respectfully, I wouldn't go on there, and that was it. So that's a dead issue, homie. You know what I'm saying? And another one that he said, Alboy's, everything Alboy says holds no weight, right? Well, when I met Alboy, it was in 2008, homie, and it was at the Fontana Swap Meet. And if you know about the Fontana Swap Meet back then, it was super active, homie. It was a lot of issues going on back then, right, at the Fontana Swap Meet. So I met Alboy at the Fontana Swap Meet at Payaso from the Duke Clique, rest in peace, at his shop. And you know what, homie? Alboy was solo bolo. I met him. He was hella humble, respectful, and I got nothing bad to say about him. All I gotta say is he was out there in the field solo, really doing it. You know what I'm saying? He was at every car show. He was at every event. He was really pulling up. And Alboy was a respectful homie though, humble, respectful homie, down to earth, and like I said, in 2008 he was out there, he was all over the place, right? And so recently I found Alboy on Instagram, right? So I followed me back, and then I comment on his thing. I'm like, I remember in 2008 I met you, homie. We were, you were hella feeding. He had shot me some CDs, and he remembered that. I mean, he was definitely in the streets in 2008 here in Cali, homie. He was hella active. It's different now. Times have changed, homie. So at the end of the day, like, to this YouTuber, know your facts, know what you're talking about before you start talking, homie. At the end of the day, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really know what you're speaking about before you start speaking, And then another thing, homie, when you're going talking about big homies in the bag, like, man, that you've been watching too much Discovery Channel, homie, because everything you say, you sound just like the History Channel. You sound just like Lockup, homie. At the end of the day, dog, like, that whole, shoe, that's been, you said it yourself, you don't know the laws, you don't know nothing. So at the end of the day, it's just best not to even speak on the ones you don't know about, right? And the ones that are hating on Alboy, the podcasters that are hating on him, homie, at the end of the day, I just want to say something to them, and I'm not even going to say their channel, but I know who runs it, right? You should be ashamed of yourself to support a vato like this, who's out of state, never met him, doesn't know no Southern California homies, and then you say you're a Southern California homie, and you say you're from the AA, allegedly, but yeah, you're letting out-of-staters take shots at known homies who've been in the rap game for a very, very long time, right? Now, Alboy is successful, homie. He actually has a gaming business, and you know what? Those are one of those expensive things to have, like, to have an actual gaming truck that you ran out with everything in it. Yeah, homie, you gotta be on some kind of level. So obviously he elevated from rap, something that a lot of these characters can't do. And another thing, this homie has to remember that this is social media, has nothing to do with anything. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, social media is not street credit, homie. We out.